Team Freeview, welcome back to the analysis of lists.
Welcome
to
them.
Welcome.
Welcome to you too.
Welcome, thank you. So today, it's a bit of a Deathwatch debut, isn't it, Mr. Beard?
Yeah, that's what it is.
I think that's quite cool.
First one since the Codex has come out.
It is the first one since the Codex has come out. And for those of you which are on-demand subscribers, where we do the tactical reviews of the codices, those are on pause because I get lots of questions about it until all of the codices are out, codexes are out, because the FAQs and everything changes so much. And then obviously a new codex which can change the meta changes so much that to do a tactical review on the individual codex, too much changes too quickly.
There's not many left now. So
no,
it probably won't be too long. You've got Space Wolves and Orcs.
Yeah.
And then Genestealer Cult.
That's it. Which is great.
Yeah.
So you will be seeing all of the tactical reviews coming back in force very soon. But we have an awesome Deathwatch list today. I'm just going to place my tome of Ectoclades down here.
Very good.
Happens to be a relic.
Very good.
So, right, let's talk about the lists. If you're new to the list analysis series, the way that you get your list analysed potentially is by posting it on the Tabletop Tactics forum, which is on the Tabletop Tactics website.
Yes.
So that's tabletoptactics.tv. You can sign up for a free guest membership. You don't even need to be an on-demand member.
You should be.
Yes, you should. But you can post your list there for free, and you also get the awesome community there, which will interact with you as well, which is cool.
You'd be surprised, actually, how I've not seen anyone post a list without it being analysed by someone.
No, yeah, it's a great community there, so it's really, really cool. So today we have a list by MasterCrafty. How are you, sir? So what we're going to do is we're going to go over his list and his forum post.
It's like a mastercrafted person.
That's right. That's right.
Rerolling ones.
He must be rerolling ones. In life, you're not mastercrafted, are you?
Not in life. No.
Anyway, moving swiftly on. So he's called this Deathwatch 2000 points, All the Hellfire. Now we're going to kick off and say that actually we found a little bit of a boo-boo in your list, unless we are both kerfuffled.
I don't think so.
It does appear that your list is overpointed, sir.
So we're not doing it.
We are. So I think it's like 22 points overpointed. So we're not sure how that happened, but I mean the way you've pointed it up in the forum post as well sort of indicates that you actually spent a little bit less and more on some units, so it didn't quite make sense. But regardless, ultimately with a few tweaks that you would be able to fit it all in, so it's not that big a deal. We've still gone ahead and optimized it anyway, but there we go. He speaks about this, as to briefly read his post here. The point of the list was to try and stick to cheaper units, keep the expensive armor out of it, and really try and maximize he says Fortis kill team, but I think he means the Führer kill team. It's probably one of those.
I think it's the
autocorrect.
Yeah.
Which is the reroll ones to wound against troops, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. It's the Führer tactics.
Yes.
Führer,
yes. And special ammo rules. Leave a comment below if we've actually got that wrong and you are trying to maximise a different tactic. The good thing about Deathwatch is that you do have the flexibility to try and change up those mission tactics throughout the game anyway, so it's not a big deal just sticking to one, you know. So what he's got is 2 battalions for 13 command points, so this is a fantastic start. And Deathwatch, you know, generally can be not, I suppose, pretty command point hungry to get the best out of all of their different abilities and so forth, but he puts both battalions, he's just listed it as both, but we've sort of worked out how you did both the battalions. So let's go over his list. It should be said as a caveat as well that the 2 battalions is a fantastic idea. Obviously, you haven't said how you're planning on using this. There's a Primaris theme, which is awesome. I like that. But there are going to be some organised players that might not want you to do duplicate detachment. You know, that's just a sort of thing on the tournament scene. Depending on if you're playing this at home, who cares? Do your battalion, but just be aware that sometimes you might need to mix that or change it. But you could do a battalion vanguard in this instance, I think. Not quite, but you know, you be flexible to change it up as required. So let's go over the list. You've got a Primaris librarian as he comes. Okay, fantastic. Because you do have things like null zone and so forth, so it's good to get. Decent. Yeah, I mean, you know, and I'm assuming you'd take that as a power. It's a good thing.
Be a game changer.
Bit of psychic support. Primaris Captain with Stalker, Bolter, and Power Sword. All right, this is the 1st Battalion. You've then got, actually, I'm going to look at it at the list how we've put it in, because that's how it will be coming up on the screen, so that I'm accurate to what we're saying. So here we go. In your 1st Battalion, you have Primaris Librarian, Primaris Watch Captain. Okay, that's what you've taken in, how we've organised your list for you. Mastercrafted Stalker, Bolt Rifle, and Bolt Pistol, Power Sword. Fine. Troops, you've got 3 units of Intercessors. So with Deathwatch, which is really, really cool, you can mix in all of the other Primaris units.
Yay!
After the first 5 Intercessors have been purchased, which is really cool. So in the 1st and 2nd Intercessor unit, you've got Auxiliary Grenade Launcher, must take upgrade for a point. Intercessor Sergeant with Auto Bolt Rifle and a Power Sword. The Aggressor with Auto Bolt Storm Gauntlets and a Frag Storm Grenade Launcher. You've got an Inceptor with 2 Assault Bolters. You've got 4 Intercessors, all with Auto Bolt Rifles. Now, these are the Assault variants of the bolters.
Yeah.
They're bolt rifles. So they're Assault 2, 24-inch range, Strength 4, but they lack a minus. Now, what's cool about this is, because you've got the Aggressor in there, for those of you which don't know how the Intercessors work, is you get something called Relentless Advance, a unit of Intercessors that includes any aggressors that does not suffer any penalty to their hit rolls for advancing and firing assault weapons, or for moving and firing heavy weapons, which is actually pretty awesome if you're going to go with the auto bolters. Yeah. Because that means that you're going to be much more mobile. You've got a 6-inch move base plus your advanced move. You're not going to be suffering the minus to hit. That's cool. And then with the Inceptor in there, having an Inceptor in there with the Inceptor Strike special rule, you're actually able to fall back and still fire.
Yep.
Which is another really good benefit to have, because the worst thing about having any Primaris unit, or any Space Marine unit, unless you're Ultramarines, is that ability. You want the ability to actually be able to fall back and fire. If you can get it, it's an incredible ability to have. So it means that you can't be tied up unless they swamp you, which is a different type of problem.
It's like the Primaris equivalent to the normal veterans. Because you can take a biker in a normal squad of veterans,
yes,
like a normal Space Marine, so that allows you to fall back and then assault again.
Yeah.
So it's cool to have a similar option with the Primaris. I
think it is cool. You've got a Power Sword on the Sergeant there for a bit of extra combat potential, and obviously it would look cool as well, so I would support that. So you've got 2 units of those. You've then got 1 unit of Intercessors here with Sergeant with a Stalker Bolt Rifle, so that's the heavy variant. I believe it's 36-inch range. 30-inch range. Strength 4, but it's -2. But it is heavy 1. So, okay, fair enough. You've then got the Hellblasters with the heavy Plasma Incinerator in here. And incidentally, in the other squads, I don't know if I mentioned it, but you've actually got... No, you don't have Hellblasters in there at all. Okay, fair. So, in this squad, you've got the Aggressor. No. Let's start again. You've got the 2 Hellblasters, the Intercessor Sergeants, Bolt Pistol, Stalker Bolt Rifle. The Hellblasters have the heavy Plasma Incinerators. So these are quite interesting. And I say interesting, not in a bad way, but I'm not sold on them per se. They are heavy 1, so you're not getting the rapid fire potential. Or the more shots that the Assault Plasma Incinerator can have, or the standard Plasma Incinerator can have. They are a base strength of 8, -4 damage 1, which isn't bad, obviously. You can overcharge them for a strength 9, -4 damage 2. It's not bad. I'm not sure, because you are paying a few more points for them as well.
It's like 2 more points, I think. Yeah,
I like the idea that you get. I like more shots. That tends to be sort of my go-to. Especially, it boggles the mind that the heavy Plasma Incinerator isn't a higher damage. See,
it's a bit weird.
I think the base damage of a heavy Plasma Incinerator should be damage 2, and when you overcharge it, it should be damage 3. Now, some people might think that's too powerful. Personally, I don't think that is.
We'll make it D3.
Well,
maybe.
Yeah. I mean, you could. I just think this thing can potentially kill you if you're firing it. So I want it to be worth it.
Yeah.
yeah, that's just me. So I'm not 100% sold on the heavy plasma incinerator myself, but you know, it's not a bad choice. It's just I'm not sure about it. Then you've got 4 intercessors, obviously, because you have to do so with Stalker bolt rifles. Now this is like your heavy support unit, the way that you've built them up. Now, interestingly, you didn't give this unit an aggressor, which, you know, is, again, I probably want the aggressor on there because you could ignore the moving.
Where everything's got a heavy weapon, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think actually an aggressor would be good in that, actually, if you want to take that sort of heavy support thing, because the problem with castles is that the minute something hits them, they're kind of dead, you know. What you want is the ability to move away and still keep a sustained fire without losing accuracy. So if you want to do that heavy weapon variant, I'd probably put the aggressor in there. Funnily enough, is kind of how I would do it. But nonetheless, you know, I can see what you're doing with it, and that you've explained your tactics a little bit more in your forum post after this. So that is the troops from the 1st Battalion, so 3 units in there. You've then got a Redemptor Dreadnoughts. You've given him 2 Fragstorm grenade launchers, a heavy flamer, and a macro plasma incinerator. You've got also 2 Reaver squads, and they've got the grav shoots, so a bit of deep striking potential there. Obviously the beta deep strike rules is going to hurt them a little bit there, so you have to come in turn 2, but you said you could also just use them for screening. This is one of the things he said. You've given them the knives and the heavy bolt pistols, fair enough. So that's the 1st Battalion. The 2nd Battalion, you have a Primaris Chaplain, very cool model. You've got a Watchmaster, so as he comes, so re-rolling hits in a bubble there. Then you've got 3 more units of troops. You've got another unit of intercessors with the heavy plasma incinerators and the Stalker bolt rifles, so same as what we just had before. You've then got 2 differently equipped intercessor units, and these units have bolt rifles, so your standard sort of intercessors, plasma incinerators, so 2 normal plasmas there for Hellblaster variant, an Inceptor with 2 plasma exterminators, so you can get that extra plasma in there and you can fall back and shoot, which is cool. And then you've got 4 more intercessors in there with bolt rifles. So what you've done is, it's kind of cool because you've got 3 different flavors of the intercessors with the different flavors of the plasma, and you've mixed it up, and I think it would look absolutely awesome on the battlefield. There's no doubt about that. But I think there's definitely some things that we can do to help increase the power of this list. Now I'll talk about you, because you spoke about the tactics a little bit. You also sent me some pictures of your painted army, which hopefully should be coming up on the screen as we've been speaking about this, because that would be cool. So you said that this list is a bit simpler because you actually posted 2 lists and we chose this one. The auto rifle kill teams have an aggressor and a bolt inceptor each to add DACA and keep them mobile, move, advance, fall back and shoot without penalty, which perfectly makes sense. 2 of them will foot slog, protecting a Libby and Chaplain to take objectives, or stand still and let the aggressors shoot. The 2 Stalker units will be backfilled with the few Hellblaster shots with a single Dread and Captain re-rolling bubble, along with the Tome and Relic and command point farming. So that means that along with the Tome of Ectoclades, which allows you to change your mission tactics on the fly, which is very cool. You choose which mission tactic the Tome has, and then you can switch to that during the game. You've also gone for the Warlord traits. I think it's Lord of Hidden Knowledge. Yes, Lord of Hidden Knowledge, which allows you to re-roll a single hit roll, wound roll, damage roll, or saving throw. In addition, if you're battle forged, each time you use a stratagem, you can roll a 5 up and get a command point back. So when you're rocking 13 command points plus a re-roll, that's pretty cool.
Pretty good. And I think having it as a 5-up is pretty nice.
It is quite nice.
And incidentally, because you're taking a Watchmaster in this list, normally that stratagem that allows you to change the mission tactics normally costs 2 command points, but it's 1 with a Watch Captain.
Yeah.
Which again, you've got 13 command points.
Yeah.
You can have a lot to play with.
Which is cool. He does say, along with the Tome Relic and command point farming traits, etc., I actually like the Bane bolts for this character. So the 2 Stalker units will be backfilled with Hellblast Assault. So his captain, he's got a Stalker bolt rifle on him. He is a Raptor, so from the Raptor's chapter. So a Stalker bolter that hits on 2 re-rolling and wounds on 2 re-rolling with Hellfire and mission tactics and does 3 damage is kind of cool. Yeah, I think that is kind of cool too. A nice theme to have that. And so he's sort of your the captain of your castle, as you put it, which makes sense. Now you do say that you'll spend 3 command points to put the rapid fire kill teams in Teleportarium with the Watchmaster. These 2 units hit hard with rapid fire special issue ammunition, rapid fire hellblasters, and an Inceptor with 2d3 plasma. So they cannot get tied up in combat despite being near the enemy, which absolutely makes sense. So you've got 2 deep striking kill teams, 2 foot slogging, and 2 camps. The focus being that the 4 that will be moving can be mobile and not pinned down with cheap wounds to get through before you lose any expensive models. So, you know, you go on and explain this out, flesh it out a little bit further, but I'm pretty sure everyone gets the idea of what you're doing. So you've got a castle, you've got a mobile element, you've got a deep striking element, with the Redemptor in there for a bit of a, you know, target distraction as well. The Plasma Incinerator on the Redemptor is, again, something it's not bad, and sometimes there will be a place for it.
It's hard to choose between that and the Heavy Onslaught gun.
And the Heavy Onslaught, yeah.
Really
I mean, you're what you're trying to do, and you actually ask, and I think you had some great advice from some of the other posters in the forum. You sort of said, do I have enough plasma? Do I have enough anti-tank in there? Yeah, I mean, depends on what you face, doesn't it? But I think overall I would like a bit more. I'm not sure you had enough, actually. I mean, certainly if you were to face something like a Knight Army, now that they've just come out, that might be a problem for you. But yeah, I think you could do with more punch. But tough one, really tough one. I get what the Redemptor Dreadnought is doing there with that plasma backup. But look, that's your list. We worked it out as 2,022 points, so slightly overpointed, so you'd have to drop something somewhere. But very cool, love the theme. Obviously, we've done some optimization, haven't we?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, when we say optimized, what we do is we try and run with your theme.
Yeah.
You know, generally speaking. And then, yeah, we'll see what we come up with. So, Mr. Beard will be doing a list first.
Yeah.
Let's see what he's come up with.
Pressure's on.
It's coming up next.
Right, so this is my optimized list. So this is the interesting thing with the Deathwatch book. The more you read it and the more you discuss it with people, the more you can change it and adapt it and whatever. It's a really, really interesting book. On the outside, you sort of skim through it and it's like, yeah, it's all right. But when you go deep into it and you really think about all the potential combinations with all of the different kill teams you can have and so on, they're very, very versatile. If you know what you're going up against in a game, you can tailor it quite well because everything can do so much stuff and they can affect kill teams and things like that. So my list is open to interpretation. So this is basically my idea of a template, and you can do whatever you want to do with it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
This goes for you Mastercrafty, and whoever else plays Deathwatch.
Okay.
So this is what I've come up with. So I've gone for 1 battalion, just the one.
Okay, fine.
Okay. So I couldn't fit in 2 battalions. I think you were over by 22 points. I would force 2 battalions in, and I don't think it would be that effective. Cool, there's loads of command points, but I think effectiveness would suffer.
I think you'd lose too much.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So this is what I've got. I'm going to run you through quickly and then explain everything after that. So in terms of my HQs, I've got 3 HQs in this battalion.
3 HQs.
3 HQs.
Very nice.
Is that okay?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, very good. I have 2 Primaris watch captains. They both have Mastercrafted Stalker bolt rifles and power swords. And I also have a Watchmaster, which is my warlord, of course. He's the Watchmaster. All these Primaris Marines coming in, doesn't matter. He's still the Watchmaster.
You see, now on that, I know that this technically isn't correct, but I would make the Watchmaster Primaris.
It would be
like
cool
I would
to have an
convert
option.
him as Primaris.
Oh yeah.
I have no idea what I do, but obviously they don't have a model Games Workshop. But how can you have a Primaris variant for everything else, and then weirdly, the Watchmaster isn't Primaris?
Well, here's the thing. So for me,
no,
you have Primaris Deathwatch, but they aren't an equivalent to the Deathwatch Marines. So you don't have veterans, for instance. You don't have bikers.
No, you don't. You don't have frag cannons, which is
you have watch captains, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not get into that, right?
Okay, we're not.
The Watchmaster is the warlord. He has the Tome of the Ectoclades. It's an excellent relic.
Yeah.
When you're playing strategically with Deathwatch, and that's kind of how you have to play, being able to change the mission tactics is fantastic.
Yeah.
Being able to have the adjustments to troops or elites, fast attack, whatever, it's really cool to be able to change it. At the beginning of your turns. Yeah. He also has Lord of Hidden Knowledge. The one reroll is cool, but having the ability to get command points back on a 5-up is great.
Yeah,
and it definitely. really frustrates your opponents as well, which is always hilarious. I then have 6 troops choices, which are
That's no joke. That's no joke.
Which are all intercessors. I'll go into that in a minute.
Right.
And then I have 2 elites choices, which are both Redemptor Dreadnoughts. Okay. So let's go through the troops. Now, I really liked your what you were looking to do with the intercessors and how you're able to have different uses for those double teams of intercessors. It was very cool.
Yeah.
So I've tried to replicate that as best I can and tried to make it potentially a little bit more effective. So the first 2 intercessor squads are the same, okay? The intercessor sergeant in this squad has an auto bolt rifle. I've then got 4 intercessors, all with auto bolt rifles, and then I have 2 aggressors, and they both have flamestorm gauntlets.
Okay, nice.
An unusual choice, some would say.
That's nice. That's interesting.
But the plan with this unit
Yeah.
of intercessors
Yeah.
is to move them up nice and quickly.
Yeah, because you can advance without any issue now,
Correct.
which is really cool.
Yeah. So these are all assault weapons.
Yeah.
So as you're moving them on up, you're not suffering from being able to get them in nice and close, okay?
Sure.
So this squad will be with one of the Primaris watch captains. Now, the only disadvantage to that is that he's not going to be able to get the benefit of being able to advance like everything else, okay?
No.
So you're going to be down 1 less auto bolt rifle, but it's 1 less.
Is that with one of the captains? Did they both have stalker bolters and a power sword? Is that right? Or
sorry. Yes, this is what I'm trying to do. Yeah. So the stalker. So with the stalker, he can advance. No, hang on a minute. No,
well, he's got a heavy weapon.
He does have a heavy weapon.
Yeah.
You're confusing me now. The whole point of him is to allow the squad to reroll their ones. So the auto bolt rifles, when you're combining it with the which special ammunition is it? The Hellfire rounds, wounding on 2s. It's nice, and they can get nice and quick.
Yeah.
The one of the reasons for the aggressors is to allow them to move up without the losing their ability to shoot. But also, I want these 2 squads to be moving up nice and quick, so they can get in nice and close with their 2d6 gauntlet flamers, which are no joke. And then get in a little bit closer, because when you're within 8-inch range, you're not very far away to charge as well with their crazy power fists.
Yeah.
That's no joke.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
So this unit is designed to move up really quickly and put some pressure on the front lines of your enemy. And there's 2 units of this, okay?
Yeah.
So that's the first 2 intercessor squads. Cool. The second squad of intercessors, let me just double check I've got the right ones here. Where are we? Let's go back here. Right, so intercessor squad number 3 and 4. Because the first 2 are exactly the same. 3 and 4 are the same as well. Okay, so your intercessor sergeant has a stalker bolt rifle. You've then got 5 intercessors. They all have stalker bolt rifles, and then you have an aggressor, and he has an auto bolt storm gauntlet and the fragstorm grenade launcher. Okay, so this is more of like a mid to slightly further back kind of unit. Okay, so the aggressor means that although they all have their stalkers, which are heavy weapons, they can move and not be affected by it being a heavy weapon.
Still got that mobility in place, which I do like. Yeah.
Now the cool thing with this is when you combine it with the special issue ammunition, you can increase range if you want to stay back a little bit further and backline with them if you want to hold an objective or whatever. But also again, if you've got the Hellstorm, all of these storms and hell and things, the names are very confusing. If you're using the Hellfire ammunition, you've got 30-inch range. -2 weapon which wounds on 2s.
Yeah, which is really awesome.
Pretty tasty.
Yeah.
Right. And the aggressor has the Boltstorm gauntlets just so he has the extra range. I have 2 units of that.
Nice.
Okay.
So 4 so far.
4 so far. Unit 5 and 6. These are also intercessors. These are squads of 10. So these are big units. Okay. So Intercessor Sergeant has a Stalker bolt rifle. I've then got 4 intercessors, also with Stalker bolt rifles, and then I have 4 Hellblasters with the heavy plasma incinerators.
Nice.
Yes.
And what's the 10th member?
An aggressor.
Oh, you've got an aggressor in there as well.
So more heavy weaponry.
And again, you can move and
not be affected by the heaviness.
I certainly like that.
Now, I totally understand where you're coming from with the heavy plasma incinerator.
So if you got heavy plasma,
I've got the heavy ones.
He's got heavy on there.
I've got the heavy ones.
It's controversial.
It is controversial. But
well, it's certainly not a bad choice.
yeah, the thinking with Unit 5 and 6 is they'll be probably the furthest back. So you've kind of got like an increasing range of threat. So you've got very close, sort of more assaulty, short range kind of guys.
Yeah.
And then towards the back, you've got much more aggressive, heavier firepower, bit of anti-tank sort of idea as well.
So in total, between those 2 units, you've got effectively 8 heavy plasma shots.
Yeah.
Because they're 1 shot each.
Yeah. Strength 9 for me is why I did it.
No,
Strength 9.
I like the strength 9. Don't get me wrong. I like the strength 9. Yeah. And so who's hanging with them?
So that is going to be right. So again, you're going to adapt this, however, whatever kind of mission you're playing, whatever army you're playing. So either the watch captain, probably the watch captain actually, because you can re-roll all of your hits, and being able to do that with 8 Hellblasters is pretty good, and it also means they're less likely to die if you overcharge them. And also, being able to do that with the intercessors as well, because they've got the I think they've got the most amount. No, four again. So the same as before. Right. But yeah, probably the watch captain. You want to keep your warlord back to try and keep him safe. His relics are kind of all around buffing, so he doesn't necessarily need to be close. But yeah, being able to re-roll all the hits for the Hellblasters is kind of why they'd be there. And then the mid unit will probably have the other watch captain, but it doesn't really matter. Sort of use them however you want to. They're not linked to the units. So yeah, 6 loads of troops. The idea with this is to kind of match your idea of having the matching units and changing how they do what they do. Yeah, it's very cool. Also, having that many troops is probably quite hard to deal with for your opponent, and it would look so cool as well. So yeah, that is the idea with all of the troops. And then with the Redemptor Dreadnoughts, I've loaded them out with the, again, controversial macroplasma incinerator.
I can see why. See, this is a good example that I can see why you did in this list, because you need the extra.
You need the extra anti-tank. Yeah. I've also given him the Onslaught Gatling cannon in the fists. And I've taken the Storm Bolters instead of the frag grenade launchers because I just don't like him. I'm not interested in them. If something is coming close into your lines, having 2 rapid fire Storm Bolters is always good. I really like Storm Bolters. I mean, you've got 2 of them and they're rapid fire range. That's 8 shots. Yeah,
it's good. And so you've changed, because he had a heavy flamer as well instead of the Onslaught Gatling cannon.
No, he's got the Onslaught Gatling cannon.
In his Redemptor, did he?
Oh, in his Redemptor, I think he had the flamer.
Yeah, I think Mastercrafty had that, which is interesting. Yeah, I don't think I'd go the heavy flamer on him myself.
No, I don't like him. I like having the 6 shots.
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is it. It's 2,000 points on the nose. It's an interesting one. I think, again, open to interpretation. You could totally put in a what are they called? You could put in some Inceptors into the more assaulty kind of kill teams if you wanted to. For me, I probably wouldn't put them in this army because they're not built for combat. So really, you want to get them in close enough, and then probably move them back. With the aggressors in the auto bolt rifle unit, which is designed to get up nice and close, you get them into combat with the aggressors because they have a lot of power in the fists. But ideally, you want to try and go into combat with something you are very likely to kill in that round, and then automatically be out of combat. So I've not designed this to be combat focused at all.
It's not an assault list, is it?
I've designed them to put in lots of close range threat with those 2 units, and then have the rest of the troops back, covering the rest of the board. So beta deep striking has affected a lot of armies.
Yeah.
I think some people could deep strike stuff in turn 2, but when you've got this many troops, you can deploy them as such that it will be very difficult for anyone to deep strike anyway later on. So ball control, you're in a good spot.
Yeah.
Grabbing objectives and things like that, you're in a good spot. So yeah, an interesting one. I really like to play this list and see how it works.
Yeah.
But you get the basic idea.
Yeah, and it's you've absolutely stuck to the theme, and it's a cool Primaris army.
Yeah. I think that the questions that he was asking at the end of the list around, do you think this many troops is good? Yes.
Big time.
Is there enough plasma?
Amazing.
No, I don't think so personally. So that's why I added in the extra plasma with the Hellblasters and the extra Redemptor Dreadnought. So yeah, interesting one.
Yeah, it is, and there's 2,000 on the nose.
On the nose.
That's pretty cool.
Very satisfying.
That is pretty cool. I mean, I love the theme. I think that you've definitely, because remember, guys, I didn't know what he's written before. As you know, we just talk about it.
Well, normally when we do this, we have very similar lists, but I don't think that's the case today.
No, today we do. Well, I mean, I've kept to his theme as well, to well, as much as I can. But yeah, no, my list is different to yours, definitely. It's kind of cool. I think again, the plasma, I'm not sure if you have enough overall, but it is well balanced. If you're facing, unless you're facing a mech wall or something, you're going to do the business, generally speaking. I'm going to probably do my list now, because I'll explain why I've taken the choices I've taken, which are different to both Mastercrafty's and Beards. Probably in a little bit more detail, because that would make sense. So, thank you, Mr. Beard. That's 2,000 points. There's one list option you could go for. Let's see what I've come up with. That's coming up next. Right, here we are. It is the Spiders list now. I've got 2 detachments. I've got a battalion and a vanguard.
Very good.
Like you, couldn't do the dual battalion. I mean, I could, but I don't think the extra command points are ultimately worth it. I don't think spending that many points on all of the characters was strictly necessary. So hence why I've dropped the dual battalion. Sorry. Right, what we've got is a Primaris Librarian, just like you had, keeping him in for all of the reasons of a little bit of denial power. Things like Null Zone, as I've said, are just way too powerful in this game right now to not have access to if you've got the points for it. So there we go. I've then gone the Primaris Watch Captain. He's got the Mastercrafted Stalker Bolt Rifle and Bolt Pistol and Power Sword. Now, what I would probably do, and I've done that because you said that he's from the Raptors chapter, so it makes sense. I've kept that for the theme. However, you could go for the auto bolt rifle and bolt pistol if you preferred, just so that he's doesn't have to be sort of static there. But I agree, you can use him as like a sort of a castle variant and do that potential damage 3, etc., which is awesome. So that's him. We've then got 4 units of troops, but every single one of my troops are 10 men.
Nice.
And they are intercessors.
Nice.
They are expensive, but we're going to make this work. Because I've got the auxiliary grenade launcher in there, I've got the intercessor sergeant with the bolt rifle, I've got 4 Hellblasters in each unit, and I've got an Inceptor with 2 plasma exterminators. So I've got a lot of plasma in each unit now. Every single unit's the same, and I've got 4 intercessors with bolt rifles. Right now, that means that I've got 10 effectively Primaris Marines, so that's 20 wounds, sitting in cover. They'll have a 2-up save. They're mobile because everything's rapid fire weapons, or assault in terms of the plasma exterminator. I don't have to worry about the minus to hit and everything. Granted, I'm not going to be able to advance other than with the plasma exterminator like you can with the aggressor, but I've got a lot more firepower. And my sweet range really is 15 inches, where I get into range with all of the the Hellblasters and the rapid fire of the bolt rifles. Now, why have I not gone for things like the auto bolt rifle or things like the stalker bolt rifle? Well, in summary, you're paying more points for those other weapons. Not many more, but you are paying more points. And whilst the auto bolt rifle is really cool, especially when you combine it with something like an aggressor, I can't help but feel to lose out on that -1. Granted, I have a 2-shot weapon at a longer range, but when I move 6 inches and then I've got a 15-inch range on my rapid fire anyway, that's already a 21-inch effective range. So I'm paying for, on the auto bolt rifle, I'm paying extra points for 3 inches of additional range. Although granted, actually, that's not fair because I'm not including the 6-inch range that they can move as well. But I've just, generally in the way the game is, I'm going to be able to get into rapid fire range sometimes in the first turn, if not by the second turn anyway. But additionally, I've got the -1. And I think when you combine that with a lot of the special issue ammunition, personally, I think I just prefer it. I think it will be more effective overall. That's just my instinct on it, but there we go. That's how I've done it.
There's I think I forget which one it is, but there are there's a special issue ammunition option which does add AP.
Yeah.
So you could use that with the auto bolt. This is what I mean. There's so many funny little tricks that you can do with it. I think it's at the front.
But yes, but then the quality. Yeah, no, I agree.
Which one is it?
It's the
Dragonfire.
No, Dragonfire's add 1 to hit rolls if they're in cover. Hellfire's wound on 2 up. Kraken Bolt is add 3-inch to 6-inch to the range and improve the AP by 1.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden it's AP 2.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's absolutely epic. Because now the rapid fire has also gone up to 15, 16, 17, 18 inches. And I'm now -2.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah. And the Vengeance round you can add 2 if you subtract 3 inches, I think. So.
Yeah, so you subtract 3 inches if it's a pistol or 6 inches. And then you can get, potentially -3 on a normal bolt rifle. Personally, I think the bolt rifles are just the most flexible weapon. When you combine them with everything, I just think that they work best overall, and I'm not paying more points like I am for the Stalker pattern or the auto pattern. So that's why I've just kept it the same throughout. I've also got those 5 ablative Marines before they get to any of your 4 Hellblasters or the Inceptor with the Plasma Exterminators. Now across this army so far, I've got 40 Primaris Marines with special issue ammunition, plus the mission tactics, plus the wealth of stratagems you can use. That's a lot of objectives secured and actually pretty resilient when done in those numbers. And the way that you can spread the 10-man units out, it's very easy to get them within 6-inch range of a Watchmaster, and you can get lots of board control as well that way. So you can just conga line things out and it becomes really interesting. So look, that's what we've got troops wise. This is where I up the ante again. I've taken a Primaris Apothecary, because not only do people have to get through 5 Primaris Marines to start getting to your high value units, I've got an Apothecary, which unless they kill him, who's a character who will be hiding behind them, who will constantly be trying to heal a Marine back. And even when they do start getting to your Hellblasters and so forth, you can bring one of them back, can't you? So it's really cool. So, I think the Apothecary works really well in this list. And for, 69 points, you can't really go wrong. I've then gone 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts.
Nice.
That's what I've done. And by the way, the Apothecary and the Redemptor Dreadnoughts are in the Vanguard detachment, and they're headed up by the Watchmaster, who I convert to be Primaris even though he's not. So I've got 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts. Now, I have gone the 2 Fragstorm grenade launchers, but I agree with you. I think the Stormbolter, to be honest, is sometimes better.
Yeah.
I've just got the 2d6 shots here, which I can potentially get more firepower depending on what happens. So I've gone the Fragstorm grenade launchers. I've gone the heavy Onslaught Gatling cannon. I've also gone the Icarus rocket pod, which is something you didn't. I think in this meta where there's so many fly targets, it's just a good extra gun to have. And on a Redemptor, why not take it? It's only like 6 points. And then I've got the Onslaught Gatling cannon as well. So I've gone the full DACA variant. But I've got 4, 8, 12, 16 Hellblasters.
That's really good.
Plus 4 Inceptors. I've got the anti-tank that I need now. And in the way I want the Redemptors to work is you can actually use the Teleportarium, because the Teleportarium actually works on the Redemptor Dreadnoughts.
Wow, didn't know that. That's pretty good.
So depending on who you're playing, if you feel that, and this is what I don't, the thing about the Redemptor and Marines in general is there's always, you have your high value armour.
It's gone.
And it, you know, if you don't get first turn, they just blow you off the field and you're like, ugh, that sucks. So what you can do, I know you'll be spending 3 CP to do it, but why not use the Teleportarium to protect them? You know, absolutely. Obviously, I'm going to use Tome of Vector Clayd's Lord of Hidden Knowledge, so I can potentially get the CPs back, because I know I don't have many CPs as you had in your army. So what are we rocking? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 command points in total, but I'm always spending 3 effectively.
I think with Deathwatch though, you don't necessarily need command points as much, because you've got the ammunition and the mission tactics.
Yeah, Tome of Vector Clayd's allows you that bit of flexibility as well.
It makes up for when you're lacking command points. Like if you've got more command points, great. Like it's never a bad thing.
And then if you've got a Watchmaster, you can use adaptive tactics for only 1 CP to change your mission tactic anyway. There are some amazing stratagems in here which can obviously be used, but we're assuming if you're watching this, you might be a Deathwatch fan anyway, so we're not going to teach you how to use your stratagems. But with the Teleportarium, use this stratagem during deployment. For each CP spent on this stratagem, you can set up either 1 Deathwatch infantry unit or 1 Deathwatch dreadnought in a Teleportarium chamber instead of placing it on the battlefield. At the end of any of your movement phases, any units in the Teleportarium chamber can teleport onto the battle, set them up anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inches away from enemy models, and you can only use this stratagem once. Now, what's particularly cool about that is because you've got a fair amount of range on your Gatling Redemptor, you can still choose to bring him down turn 1, because you can still do it in your deployment zone with the beta deep strike rules, right? So you don't have to wait for 2 turns, but sometimes you might want to wait for 2 turns depending on what you're playing, because the Redemptor is a bit of a beast in combat as well.
Yes.
And sometimes you're going to need that extra anti-tank. But the reason I've gone the full Gatling is that the plasma on him isn't bad, and it can fill a gap. But when you know you've got those between the heavy and the normal 18 guaranteed strength 5 -1 shots, plus the frag storm shots as well, what you've really got there, which the army might struggle with in the first turn to just get everything into rapid fire range, is some horde clearance. And you really need horde clearance in any of the games right now, because people are just bringing more and more models.
Thick and fast.
Yeah, you know, with 2 of these Redemptors, you know, piling into a 40-man cultist unit, I'm now much more confident that you can plough through those cultists plus the Fragstorm launchers and then finish them off if they're any alive with like one of your intercessor squads, because you want to be able to wipe the unit out full so that they can't just suddenly, you know, tide of traitors you and all that. You know, you don't want that. It's not a good look. So that's it. That's my list. It's 1995. Now, we did mention in this post as well, we just got hold of the limited edition Primaris Captain with the fist and the plasma pistol. You could probably fit that in by just dropping the Fragstorm launchers and just having the Storm Bolters on the Redemptor, and then you'd lose your Stalker Bolt Rifle and you'd upgrade to the Power Fist and the Plasma Pistol if you want a bit more of a Primaris, you know, Assault Watch Captain, if you like, which would be quite cool. And that is probably actually what I would do, thinking about it, because the Stalker Bolt Rifle is cool and I like the Raptors theme, but
it's a sweet model as well.
It's a sweet model, yeah. No, you know, why not have both variants? You can just mix it up. It would be cool. But that's it. It's 1995 points. Lots of OBSEC in there. Pretty flexible. And be interesting to play. I'd like to see how it did against a variety of armies.
We need to get a Deathwatch army, don't we?
Well, it's funny you say that. So I think that's it then, isn't it, Mr. Beard?
Yes,
that's the list analysis done.
I like your list.
Thank you.
I think I like it more than mine.
Well, I like both, because I think you've been a little bit truer in some ways, because the way that you've done you've sort of kept to his different sort of squad loadouts, and I think that's quite Special Forces-esque, isn't it? Having different units with different roles.
Deathwatch is what they do.
Breacher teams and all that sort of jazz. It's cool. But look, you know, it both work. Have a play with it. Let us know what you think. So, guys, hope you've enjoyed this one. It's been another list analysis with myself, the Spider, and Mr. Beards. We'll be back with more of these very soon.